Good day everyone. My name is Dandolf B. Dasig and this is my video reporting for Module 4. The lesson to be discussed in the Module 4 is the Lesson 4, which is the Bureau of Corrections, which is the Republic Act 10575, Custody, Security and Control of Prisoners, Care and Treatment of the Prisoners, Release of Prisoners, Good Conduct, Time Allowance, Prohibited Act subjects to disciplinary actions, BJMP, which is the Republic Act 6975, Republic Act 9263, Treatment of Special Needs of Unusual Offenders, Emergency Plans, Movement or Transfer of the Prisoners or Detainees, Privileges of Detainees and Sentenced Prisoners, the Regional Rehabilitation Centers of Youth, the Child and Youth Welfare Code, the Death Row, and the Rule of Writ of Amparo. Republic Act number 10575, an act strengthening the Bureau of Corrections and providing funds. Therefore, be it enacted by the Senate and House of Representatives of the Philippines in Congress assembled. Section 1. Short title. This act shall be known as the Bureau of Corrections Act of 2013. Section 2. Declaration of Policy. It is the policy of the state to promote the general welfare and safeguard the basic rights of every prisoner incarcerated in our national penitentiary. It also recognizes the responsibility of the state to strengthen government capability aimed towards the institutionalization of highly efficient and competent correctional services. Towards this end, the state shall provide for the modernization, professionalization, and restructuring the Bureau of Corrections by upgrading its facilities, increasing the number of its personnel, upgrading the level of qualifications of their personnel, and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits, making it at par with that of the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology. Section 3. Definition of terms. Safekeeping, which is the custodial component of the Bureau's present correction system, shall refer to the act that ensures the public, including the families of inmates and their victims, that national inmates are provided with their basic needs, completely incapacitated from further committing criminal acts, and have been totally cut off from their criminal networks or contacts in free society. While serving sentence inside the premises of the National Penitentiary, this act also includes protection against illegal organized armed groups which have the capacity of launching an attack on any prison camp of the National Penitentiary to rescue their convicted comrade or to forcibly amass firearms issued to prison guards. Formation, which is the rehabilitation component of the Bureau's present correction system, shall refer to acts which ensure the public, includes facilities of inmates and their victims, that released national inmates are no longer harmful to the community by becoming reformed individuals prepared to live a normal and productive life upon reintegration to the mainstream society. Section 4. The mandates of the Bureau of Corrections. The Bureau shall be in charge of safekeeping and instituting reformation programs to national inmates sentenced to more than 3 years. Safekeeping of national inmates. The safekeeping of inmates shall include decent provision of quarters, food, water, and clothing in compliance with the established United Nations standards. The security of the inmates shall be undertaken by the custodial force consisting of corrections office with ranking system and salary grades similar to counterpart in the BJMP. Reformation of national inmates. The reformation programs which will be instituted by the Bucur for the inmates shall be the following: moral and spiritual program, educational and training program, work and livelihood program, sports and recreation program, health and welfare program, and behavior modification program to include therapeutic community. Reformation program shall be undertaken by professional reformation personnel consisting of corrections technical officers with the ranking system and salary grade similar to corrections officers. Corrections technical officers are personnel employed in the implementation of the reformation programs and those personnel whose nature of work requires proximate or direct contact with inmates. Corrections technical officers include priests, evangelists, pastors, teachers, instructors, professors, vocational placement officers, librarians, guidance counselors, physicians, nurses, medical technologists, dentists, therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists, sociologists, social workers, engineers, electricians, agriculturists, veterinarians, lawyers, and similar professional skills relevant to the implementing of inmate formation programs. Section 5 Operations of the Bureau of Corrections. The Bucur shall be operated with a directional structure. It shall undertake reception of inmates through its Directorate for Reception and Diagnostics, formerly Reception and Diagnostic Center, provide basic needs and security through its Security and Operations Directorates, administer formation programs through its Reformation Directorates, and prepare inmates for reintegration to mainstream society through its Directorate for External Relations, formerly External Relations Division. The DRD shall be responsible for the conduct of classification of each and every inmate admitted to the Bucur. Inmates shall be classified according to security, risk, and sentence. Included in the classification is determining inmates' certain skills or talents, physical, spiritual, social, mental, and psychological evaluation and other behavioral assessments as reference of the DRD in the preparation of individual inmate information programs. Aside from those born of the provisions under Rule 8, Part 1, Rules of General Application of the United Nations Standard Minimum Rules for Bucur on Security Classification. Inmates shall also be internally classified by the DRD and segregated according to crimes committed based on the related penal code such as crimes against persons, crimes against reporters, crimes against properties, crimes against chastity, so on and so forth, as well as by other related special laws. custom and immigration laws. From the DRD, the custodial force and information personnel of the respective security institutions or camps shall be in charge of the security and implementation of the recommended inmate reformation program of each and every inmate while serving sentence, respectively. The Directorate for External Relations shall be responsible for the pre-release and post-release programs on inmates due for release. The DER shall also classify inmates according to skills acquired for referral and endorsement to appropriate companies or corporations participating in the Booker and the jail job training programs and newly reformed inmates. The DER shall also evaluate, classify, and apply necessary programs to inmates for readiness to join the mainstream society upon release. Apart from handling inmates, the Booker shall administratively operate like a standard government agency through its administrative directors with internal control and internal audit units. The Booker shall employ full computerization and the build-up, maintenance, and transmit of necessary inmate records to all its prison and penal farms and other recipient agencies. Section 6. Lands of the Bureau of Corrections. Aside from the administrative purposes, all Booker lands shall be used for inmate security reformation programs and as a means to promote sustainability both for income and non-income generating programs, with or without partnership among the non-government organizations, civic organizations, or other government entities. As a way to maximize its assets, value for the effective and extensive reformation corrections programs for national inmates, the Booker shall have the absolute authority to design, formulate, and implement land use development and plans and policies. The Bureau of Corrections may propose additional penal farms as may be necessary as possible, aside from the existing 7 prison and penal farms, to decongest existing penal institutions and accommodate the increasing number of inmates committed to the agency. All Bureau of Corrections land shall have a certificate of title registered under its name. Section 7. Facilities of the Bureau of Corrections. The Bureau of Corrections shall operate with the standard and uniform design of prison facilities, reformation facilities, and administrative facilities through all the operating prison and penal farms such as the following: dormitory, administration building, perimeter or security fences, hospital or infirmary, recreation and multipurpose hall, training and lecture center, workshop facility, mess hall or kitchen, visiting area, water tank and pump, reception and diagnostic center, and service personnel facilities. Section 8. Supervision of the Bureau of Corrections. The Department of Justice, which is the DOJ, having the Bureau of Corrections as a line of the Bureau and a constituent unit, shall maintain a relationship of administrative supervision with the latter as defined under Section 38, Chapter 7, Book 4 of Executive Order Number 292, Administrative Code of 1987, except the DOJ shall retain authority over the power to review, reverse, revise, or modify the decisions of the Bureau of Corrections and the exercise of its regulatory or quasi-judicial functions. Section 9. Organizations and key positions of the Bureau of Corrections. The Bureau of Corrections shall be headed by a director who shall be assisted by 3 deputy directors, 1 for administration, 1 for security and operations, and 1 for reformation, all of whom shall be appointed by the President upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Department of Justice, provided that the Director of the Deputy Directors of the Bureau of Correction shall serve a tour of duty not to exceed 6 years from the date of appointment, provided further that in times of war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President may extend such tour of duty. The head of the Bureau of Corrections will, with the rank of Undersecretary, shall have the position and title of Director General of Corrections. The second officers in command of the Bureau of Corrections with the rank of Assistant Secretary shall have the position and title of Deputy Directors of Corrections. The third officer in command of the Bureau of Corrections with the rank of the Chief Superintendent shall have the position and title of the Corrections Chief Superintendent. The fourth officer in command of the Bureau of Corrections with the rank of Senior Superintendent shall have the position and title of Corrections Senior Superintendent. The fifth officer in command of the Bureau of Corrections with the rank of Superintendent shall have the position and title of Corrections Superintendent. The Department of Budget and Management shall rationalize the existing organizational structure and staffing pattern of the Bureau of Corrections. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, and relevant compensation and position classification laws, rules, and regulations. Section 10. Increase of personnel. The Bureau of Correction shall maintain the custodial personnel to inmate ratio of 1:7 and reformation personnel to inmate ratio of 1:24. Hence, it is authorized to increase its manpower to meet such ratio and may continue to increase personnel per percentage rate increase of the committed inmates annually or as the need arises. So, a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines, a person of good moral character, must have passed the psychiatric or psychological, drug, and physical tests for the purpose of determining his or her physical and mental health. Must have a baccalaureate degree from recognized learning institution. Must possess the appropriate civil eligibility. Must not have been dishonorably discharged or dismissed for cause from previous employment. Must not have been convicted by final judgment of an offense or crime involving moral turpitude, and must be at least 1 meter and 62 centimeters in height for male and 1 meter 57 centimeters for female, provided that a waiver for height and age requirements may be granted to applicant belonging to the cultural communities, provided further that a new applicant must not be less than 21 or more than 40 years of age. Except for this particular provision, the above enumerated qualifications shall be continu- continuing in character, and as absence of any one of them at any given time shall be ground for separation or retirement from the service, provided furthermore that those who are already in the service upon the effectivity of this act shall be given 5 years from the date of such effectivity to obtain the minimum educational qualification and eligibility with subsidiary assistance as provided for in this act. After the lapse of the period for the satisfaction of a specific requirement, in, incumbent personnel of the Bureau of Corrections who fail to satisfy any of the requirements enumerated under the section shall be separated from the service if they are below 50 years of age and have served the government for less than 20 years, or retired if they are 50 years and above and have served in the government for at least 20 years without prejudice in either case to payment of benefits they may entitled to under existing laws. For sustained professionalism in the service, the Bureau of Corrections is directed to conduct study for the feasible establishment of the Philippine Corrections Academy, patterned after the Philippine National Police Academy of the Philippine National Police and the Philippine Military Academy of the Armed Forces of the Philippines for its commissioned officers. The Bureau of Corrections shall continue training its personnel through its personal training school, which shall be renamed as Corrections Training School or Institute, patterned after the BGMP's Jail National Training Institute. The Bureau of Fire National Training Institute and the PNP's National Training Institute. Section 12. Appointment of the personnel to the Bureau of Corrections. The appointment of the Bureau of Corrections shall be effected in the following manner. Corrections Officer to Corrections Chief Superintendent appointed by the Director General of Corrections and attested by the Civil Service Commission, and Director General of Corrections and Deputy Director of Corrections appointed by the President upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the DOJ with the proper endorsement by the Chairman of the CSC. Section 13. Lateral entry of the officer into the Bureau of Corrections. In general, all original appointments of officers in the Bureau of Corrections shall commence with the rank of Corrections Inspector, wherein applicants for lateral entry into the Bureau of Corrections shall include all those with highly specialized and technical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, chemists, architects, criminologists, certified public accountants, nurses, physical therapists, dentists, social workers, psychologists, sociologists, guidance counselors, and teachers. Doctors or medicine members of the Philippine Bar and chaplain shall be appointed to the rank of Correction Senior Inspector in their particular technical service. Section 14. Professionalization of upgrading of qualification standards in the designation of the personnel and the Bureau of Corrections to K positions. No person shall be designated to the following key positions of the Bureau of Corrections unless one has met the qualifications provided therein. Subcolony Supervisor should have the rank of Senior Inspector who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology from a recognized institution learning and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training of career courses for such position as may established by the Bureau of Corrections. Colony Assistant Superintendent should have the rank of the Chief Inspector who must have finished at least second year of Bachelor Laws or earned at least 24 units in a master's degree program in management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology, and national security administration, defense studies, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training of or career courses for such positions may be established by the Bureau of Correction. Colony Superintendent should have the rank of Superintendent who must be a graduate of a Bachelor of Laws or holder of a master's degree in management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology, national security administration, defense studies, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such position may be established by the Bureau of Corrections, provided that in prison and penal farms with an inmate population of 2,000 but below 3,000, the colony superintendent shall have the rank and qualification of a colony senior superintendent. The Republic Act No. 9263, no March 10, 2004. An act providing the professionalization of the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, amending certain provisions of Republic Act 1675, providing funds therefore and for other purposes, be it enacted by the Senate and House Representatives of the Philippine Congress assembled. Section 1. Title: This Act shall be known as the Bureau of Fire Protection and Bureau of Jail Management and Penology Professionalization Act of the year 2004. Section 2. Declaration of Policy and Principles. It is declared policy of the state of maintain peace and order, protect life, liberty and property, and promote the general welfare essential for the enjoyment by all the people of the blessings of democracy, Article 2, Section 5 of the Philippine Constitution. Moreover, it recognizes the responsibility of the state to strengthen government capability aimed towards the strengthening of the delivery of basic services to the citizen through the institutionalization of highly efficient and competent fire and jail services. It is provided for under Republic Act No. 6975, otherwise known as the Department of the Interior and Local Government Act 1990, that the task of fire protection and jail management and penology shall be the responsibility of the Bureau of Fire Protection and the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology, respectively. Moreover, Section 3 of the Republic Act Number 8551, otherwise known as the Philippines National Police Reformed and Reorganization Act of 1998, provides that in times of national emergency, BFP and the BGMP along with the Philippine National Police shall, upon the direction of the President, assist the armed forces of the Philippines in meeting the national emergency, and additional to the performance of their inherent functions as mandated by law. It is therefore recognized that the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP as member of the uniformed service of the government under the Department of the Interior and local government are required the same amount of sacrifice, service, and education like their counterparts in the PNP and the AFP to carry out their respective duties to the extent of risking their lives and limb. Towards this end, the state shall provide for the professionalization and restructuring of the BFP and the BGMP by upgrading the level of qualifications of the uniformed personnel and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits, making it at par with those of the PNP and the AFP. Towards this end, the state shall provide for the professionalization and restructuring the BFP and the BGMP by upgrading the level of qualifications of their uniformed personnel and standardizing their base pay, retirement, and other benefits, making it a par those of the PNP and the AFP. Section 3. Organization and key positions of the BFP and the BGMP. The BFP and the BGMP shall be respectively headed by a chief who shall be assisted by two deputy chiefs, one for administration and one for operations, all whom shall be appointed by the President upon recommendation of the Secretary and DILG from among the qualified officers with at least rank of Senior Superintendent in the service, provided that in no case shall any officer who has retired or retirable within 6 months from his or her compulsory retirement age appointed as chief of the Fire Bureau Chief and the Jail Bureau, as the case may be, provided further that the chief of the Fire Bureau and chief of the Jail Bureau shall serve a tour of duty not to exceed 4 years, provided however that in the times war or other national emergency declared by Congress, the President may extend such tour of duty. The heads of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank directors shall have position title of Chief of the Fire Bureau and Chief of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The second officers in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of the Chief Superintendent shall have the position title of Deputy Chief for administration of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The third officer in the command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of the Chief Superintendent shall have the position title of Deputy Chief for operation of Fire Bureau and Deputy Chief of the operation of the Jail Bureau, respectively. The fourth officer in command of the BFP and the BGMP with the rank of Chief Superintendent shall have the respective position title of Chief Directorial Staff of the Fire Bureau and Chief of the Directorial Staff of the Jail Bureau, who shall be assisted by the directors of the directorates in the respective national headquarters office with at least the rank of senior superintendent. The BFP and the shall the BFP and the shall establish, operate, and maintain their respective regional officers in each the administrative regions of the country, which shall be respectively headed by a regional director for fire protection and regional director of jail management and penology with the rank of senior superintendent. He or she shall be respectively assisted by the following officers with the rank of superintendent, assistant regional director for administration assistant, regional director for operations, and regional chief of directorial staff. Is appointed as a uniform personnel of the BFP and the BGMP unless he or she possesses the following minimum qualifications: a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines, a person of good moral character, must have passed the psychiatric or psychological, drug and physical test for the purpose of determining his or her physical and mental health, must possess a baccalaureate degree from the recognized institution of learning, must not have been dishonorably discharged for dismissal for cause from previous employment, must not have been convicted by final judgment of an offense or crime involving moral turpitude, must be at least 1 meter and 62 centimeters in height for male and 1 meter and 57 centimeters for female, provided that a waiver height and age requirement shall be automatically granted to applicants belonging to the cultural communities, and must weigh not more or less than 5 kilograms from the standard weight corresponding to his or her height and gender, provided that a new applicant must be less than 21 or more than 30 years of age, except for this particular provision. The above enumerated qualifications shall be continuing in the character and absence of any one of them at any given time shall be ground for separation or retirement from the service, provided further that the uniformed personnel who are already in the service upon effectivity of this act shall be given 5 years to obtain the minimum educational qualification and 1 year to satisfy weight requirement. After the lapse of the time of period for the satisfaction of a specific requirement, current uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP who will fail to satisfy any requirement enumerated under this section shall be separated from the service if they are below 50 years of age and have served in the government less than 20 years, or retired if they are age 50 and above and have served in the government for at least 20 years without prejudice in either case to payment of benefits they may entitled to under existing laws. Section 5. Appointed of the uniformed personnel to the BFP and the BGMP, fire or jail officer to senior fire or jail officer 4, appointed by the respective regional and director for fire protection and the regional director for jail management and penology for the regional and office in uniform personnel or by the respective chief of the Fire Bureau and chief of the Jail Bureau for the National Headquarters Office uniform personnel, and attested by the Civil Service Commission. Respective chief of the Bureau and chief of the Jail Bureau as recommended by their immediate superiors and attested by the CSC. Fire Jail Senior Superintendent, appointed by the Secretary of the DILG upon recommendation of the respective Chief of the Fire Bureau and Chief of the Jail Bureau, with a proper attestation of the CSC, and the Fire or Jail Chief Superintendent to Fire or Jail Director, appointed by the President upon recommendation of the Secretary of the DILG with the proper endorsement by the Chairman of the CSC. Section 6. Lateral entry of the officer into the BFP and the BGMP. In general, all original appointments of the officers in the Fire Bureau and Jail Bureau shall commence the rank of the Fire and Jail Inspector within applicants for the lateral entry into the BFP shall include all those highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to, civil engineers, mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, chemical engineers, chemists, architects, criminologists, certified public accountants, nurses, physical therapists, and dentists, while applicants for lateral entry into the BGMP shall include all those with highly specialized and technical qualifications such as, but not limited to, social workers, psychologists, teachers, nurses, dentists, and engineers. Doctors of medicine, members of the Philippine Bar, and the chaplain shall be appointed to the rank of the Fire and Jail Senior Inspector and their particular technical service. Graduate of the Philippine National Police Academy shall be automatically appointed to the initial rank of Fire and Jail Inspector. Positions. Number person shall be designated to the following K positions of the BFP and the BGMP unless he or she has met the qualifications provided therein. Municipal Fire Marshal should have the rank of the Senior Inspector who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in Public Administration Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Criminology, or other related discipline from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training of career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. City Fire Marshal should the rank of Chief Senior Inspector who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 24 units in a master's degree program in Public Administration, Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Criminology, or other related disciplines from the recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses of such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. District Fire Marshal, Provincial Fire Marshal, Assistant Regional Director for Administration, Assistant Regional Director for Operations, and Regional Chief of Directorial Staff should have their rank of Superintendent who must be a graduate of Bachelor of Laws or a holder of a master's degree in the Public Administration, Management, Engineering, Public Safety, Criminology, or other related disciplines from recognized institution of learning, and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may established by the Fire Bureau. District Fire Marshal. For the Institutional Capital Region, Regional Director for the Fire Protection and Director of the Directorate of National Headquarters Office should have at least rank of senior superintendent who must be a graduate of Bachelor of Laws or a holder of master's degree in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related disciplines from a recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career course for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. Deputy of Fire Administration of the Bureau. Deputy Chief for Operations of the Fire Bureau and Chief Directorial Staff of the Fire Bureau should have the rank of superintendent who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of a master's degree in a public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related disciplines from recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such as may be established by the Fire Bureau. And lastly is the Chief of the Fire Bureau should have the rank of director who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of a master's degree in public administration, management, engineering, public safety, criminology, or other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Fire Bureau. No person shall be designated to the following key positions of the BJMP unless he or she has met the qualification provided therein. Municipal Jail Warden should have the rank of the Chief Inspector to have been finished at least second year of Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 12 units in a master's degree program in management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology, national security administration, defense studies, and other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must have satisfactorily passed the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. City Jail Warden should have the rank of Chief Inspector who must have finished at least second year Bachelor of Laws or earned at least 24 units in master's degree program in the management, public administration, public safety, criminology, penology, sociology, national security administration, defenses studies or related discipline from a recognized institution of learning and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau, provided that in the city jails with a population of 1,000 or more inmates, the city jail warden shall have the rank of the qualification of the district jail warden. District Jail Warden, Provincial Jail Administrator, Assistant Regional Director for Administration, Assistant Regional Director for Operations, and Regional Chief of Director should have the rank of the Senior Superintendent who must be a graduate of a Bachelor of Laws or a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, and Criminology, and many more to mention, and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. Regional Director for Jail Management and Penology and Director of the Directorate and the National Headquarters Office should have the rank of the Senior Superintendent, who must be a graduate of Bachelor of Laws and a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, Public Safety, Criminology, and many more to mention, and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training of career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. Deputy Chief for Administration of the Jail Bureau, Deputy Chief for Operations of the Jail Bureau, and Chief of Directorial Staff of the Jail Bureau should have the rank of the Senior Superintendent, who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of a master's degree in Management, Public Administration, Public Safety, Criminology, Penology, Sociology, National Security and Administration, Defense Studies, or other related discipline from a recognized institution of learning, and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training of or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. And Chief of the Jail Bureau should have the rank of Director, who must be a member of the Philippine Bar or a holder of Master's degree in Management, Public Administration, and Public Safety, and must satisfactorily pass the necessary training or career courses for such position as may be established by the Jail Bureau. Therein shall be given 3 years upon the effectivity to this act to comply with the requirements, otherwise he or she shall be relieved from the position. Section 8. Professionalization and Qualifications Upgrading Program. The DILG shall design and establish a professionalization and qualifications and upgrading program for uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP in coordination with the CSC and the Commission on the Higher Education through an off-campus education program or other similar programs within 90 days from effectivity of this act. Section 9. Attrition system of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. There shall be established a system of attrition of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP within 1 year of the effectivity of this act, to be submitted by said bureaus of the DILG for approval. Such attrition system shall include, but it's not limited to, the provision of the following principles: attrition by demotion in position or rank any uniformed personnel or the BFP and the BGMP who is relieved and assigned to a position lower than that is established by his or her grade and respective staffing pattern of the Bureau and the Jail Bureau, and who shall not be assigned to a position commensurate to his or her grade within 2 years after such demotion in position shall be separated or retired from the service. Attrition by non-promotion. Any uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP who has not been promoted for a continuous period of 10 years shall be separated or retired from the service except for those who are occupying a third level position. Attrition by other means. Any uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP with at least 5 years of accumulated active service shall be separated from the service based on any following factors. Semestral rating period. Efficiency based on poor performance for 3 cumulative semestral rating period. Physical and or mental incapacity to perform her or his duty and functions, or failures to complete the required career courses and or appropriate civil service eligibility for his or her position, except for the justifiable and based on merits and on the availability of the vacant ranks in the BFP and the BGMP staffing pattern. Such system shall be gendered fair so as to ensure that women personnel of the Bureau and the Jail Bureau shall enjoy equal opportunity for promotion as to men. Requirement for promotion. Any personnel requirement for promotion. Any personnel of the BFP and the BGMP shall not eligible for promotion to a higher rank unless he or she has met the minimum qualification standards or the appropriate civil service eligibility set by the CSC and has thus satisfactorily passed the required psychiatric, psychological, and drug test and physical test. Any accredited civic organization shall be promoted to the next higher rank provided that this shall be validated by the DILG and the CSC based on established criteria. Section 11. Performance Evaluation System. There shall be established a performance evaluation system which shall be administered with accordance with the rules, regulations, and standards and a code of conduct for the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP to be promulgated by the Fire Bureau and the Jail Bureau through the DILG. Such performance evaluation system shall be administered in such a way as the foster of the improvement of the individual efficiency and behavioral discipline as well as the promotion of organizational effectiveness and commitment to service. Conducted on the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. Section 12. Standardization of the base pay, retirement, and other benefits of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP in order to enhance the general welfare commitment to service and professionalism of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP. They shall receive the minimum starting salary equivalent to the salary grade level of the corresponding rank classification of their counterparts in the PNP as provided under Section 36 of the Republic Act No. 8551 and the AFP as provided under Section of Republic Act No. 9166. The rate of the base pay of the uniformed personnel of the BFP and the BGMP shall be adjusted in accordance with the following salary grade schedule. Section 15. Annual report. The BFP and the BGMP through the DILG and the DBM shall jointly submit the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House of Representatives an annual report on the implementation of this act. This report shall include information on the application of the budget for salary and other benefits provided under this act. The DBM, in consultation with the BFP and the BGMP through the DILG, shall periodically review and adjust every 5 years the rates of base pay, taking into consideration labor productivity, consumer price index, oil price, and other similar economic indicators as may be determined by the National Economic and Development Authority. Declared unconstitutional, the same shall not affect the validity and the effectivity of the other provisions not affected thereby. Section 17. Repealing clauses, all laws, decrees, orders, rules, and regulations and other issuances or parts therefore which are inconsistent with the provisions of this act are hereby deemed repealed, amended, or modified accordingly. Section 18. Effectivity. This act shall take effect 15 days after its complete publication in the official gazette of or in at least two newspapers of general circulation, whichever comes earlier. That would be all. Thank you.